Dude, this 250 class is stacked.
It is. I love seeing the depth of it. I felt like for a while, it was a very young class. The talent was there, it was just very young. And now that class has grown up, and it's also getting filled with even more talent. I don't know if we're ever going to see a lack of depth, talent, or experience in that 250 field now, just due to how many young generations we have coming up that have started riding since they were 3 and racing out in the Reddit since they were 5, which makes for amazing racing for us. We got to watch Deegan from 60s, 80s. So like, what a cool story that's been. And congrats to him again on the championship.
We've got a really good broad spectrum of riders in the 250 class. I think of RJ Hampshire, who's a veteran of the 250 class and has been a staple rider in the 250 class for multiple years. On the flip side, we have a guy like Hayden Deegan, who is in his sophomore year and just wrapped up his first 250 Pro Motocross Championship. And then we have riders all the way in between. Absolutely stacked. The rider list is almost too long to cover every single rider. So we're just going to pick a handful of riders who we think have the best shot at winning the 250 Super Motocross title. We'll start with Hayden Deegan, the guy who has been the talk of the town pretty much, and rightfully so. Got 1 million+ subscribers on YouTube, just won his first 250 Pro Motocross Championship, and he is the reigning, defending Super Motocross World Champion for the 250 class. So he is looking to defend his title this year for the first ever time, and I feel like for Hayden Deegan, he's just going to capitalize on being the fastest and the fittest guy, arguably in the 250 class right now.
Yeah, man, I think he's obviously got the confidence. He's not scared to speak his mind, maybe talk a little crap in a good way. I don't think anything he says is over the top or like out of line. He's just being a fun competitor and somebody fun to watch when he does interviews. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat him, man. He has all the confidence in the world and he backs it up. And even when he's down, he gets back on the bike and he just puts his head down and makes it happen. Hard to see him having a bad race, meaning things might not go his way, but he gets on the bike and he makes sure to somehow salvage a good finish. So pending anything happening, we know he's good on starts. We know he's gonna be up in the front majority of the time, and if he isn't, he finds his way to work to the front. So, I'm excited to watch him. In my opinion, the only guy that he's gonna have to fight against is gonna be RJ Hampshire. But yeah, that's the one guy I think Deegan can bang bars with, and doesn't have to be worried, but he knows he'll bang bars back at him just as hard, if not more.
So for those two to be out front is what I'm really hoping for, but there's also a long list of 250 riders who we are going to get into who are going to throw their name in the hat. I think of Chance Hymas,
yes,
who is a guy who had a great 2024 season, especially in the Pro Motocross season. And he's another guy who is recently nominated for the Team USA, the Motocross Nations, in just about a month's time. And rightfully so. I mean, the dude rode his ass off all season long. I think of Unadilla is really the round that stood out to me. His speed was lethal and qualifying and first moto. Obviously, he went down, had a gnarly crash, which is really unfortunate. But if he could ride at that level during these Super Motocross playoff rounds, woo, watch out.
Yeah, good point, man. He really came to form this motocross season. I see why he had such a highly touted name coming up and a little bit of a rough pro debut. Not getting maybe the results that he initially wanted, but now that he's 100% on the bike, he shows why he was so highly touted as an amateur and what he's capable of. So I'm excited to watch him on the hybrid layout to see how he does on the Supercross track. Looking out there, and especially not being a full Supercross track with how tight it is. These ones being more fast. It's gonna be fun watching the style on that Honda.
Yeah, and speaking of the Honda, I think both him and his teammate Yoshimoto will be aboard the 25 CRF 250R. First race aboard that bike as they finish out the Pro Motocross season aboard the 24 model.
Ooh,
so
nice.
I'm really excited to see how that bike and both of those riders fare at, well, really all 3 Super Motocross playoff rounds, but especially the first one because that's going to be the one that sets the tone for the rest of this 3-race series because it's going to be pretty quick. There's no weekend off in between. It's going to be bang, bang, bang. So there's not a lot of time to set up a bike in between any of the rounds, really.
Yeah, if you're a 250 guy and say you have a good first race, your second race doesn't go well, so you're kind of out of the points, do you still push it to third race, or do you kind of just play it safe and set yourself up for the Supercross season? Like when you keep pushing it and when you go, okay, I'm maybe not in this championship realistically, so let's settle for a safe spot and finish and then start planning for Supercross season.
I would just base it on health. If you're not healthy, I wouldn't say it's worth the risk, just because typically one injury tends to string into another one and into another one. But if you have a bad, let's say a DNF because of a mechanical, I'd say go for it, dude. If you're happy, fit, and healthy, I'd say go for it, because there's a lot of money on the line as well. Especially with it being single, double, triple points payout, you can really make up a lot of points in those second and third playoff rounds. So yeah, I mean, it just really depends on health and how you're feeling physically. But yeah, I would just say if you're feeling fit, happy and healthy, send it.
The Kitchen, man, he had quite an up and down season. I feel like either things went his way and he did awesome, or things just did not go his way and he was just fighting against bad luck. Does that turn around? Does it stay the same? How do you think this plays out for him?
Oh man, I feel like you could just flip a coin and see where it lands, because as you alluded to, it was either going his way or not going his way. For instance, Ironman Moto 2 just kind of seemed like it wasn't going his way. It sounds like he sustained a little bit of a knee injury. Hopefully that's not going to be hampering his performances throughout the Super Motocross playoff series. But then again, on the other side of the coin, I think of days like Millville, where he goes 1-1 and the dude is just like unfreaking real, or even some of his performances in the Supercross series.
Yeah.
And I feel like if he could ride to the level that he did during the Monster Energy Supercross season, Levi Kitchen is going to be right up there. I mean, it's so freaking stacked. I mean, we're going to do our podium predictions at the end of the video, and it's like, I didn't even know who to pick, because there's 8 different guys that you could put just in the top 3, and obviously they all can't fit on the podium, so he's probably feeling pretty rejuvenated after being out of it pretty much for the entire Pro Motocross season as far as the points go. But now he's got a shot at SMX title and a lot of cash.
Masterpool.
Ooh, another guy.
Yeah, some of that kind of didn't come out of nowhere, but the finishes he had, or I didn't think he'd be competing for the win. Does he continue that? Because in the past we've seen maybe not as successful Supercross seasons out of him, but this not being a full-on Supercross track, I feel this could lead to his strengths, and we could definitely see some really strong finishes out of him. And we see that he'll bang bars and race to the very end of the race, for what we saw at
High Point.
Yeah.
With Hayden Deegan. Yeah, that's a good question. And I feel like for him, it's really going to be track dependent. Granted, I think like ZMAX Dragway this weekend at North Carolina, it's going to have some Supercross sections, but it's also going to have some outdoor sections. So I'd be really curious to see his segment times during his lap times, to see how much better or worse he is in one part of the track compared to another. I feel like if the track is more, let's say, Supercrossy, maybe hold your results a little bit back to what we may have been accustomed to seeing throughout the Pro Motocross season, but vice versa. If the track is more, let's say, motocrossy than supercrossy, I feel like the dude could podium or potentially even win. I feel like a lot of that is just experience on the supercross track. Now that he has a home with Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, I think we'll be seeing a lot of Ty Masterpool here in Southern California, testing with the team out at their supercross track in Glen Helen. And probably at his 956 facility, down at the Masterpool facility, bouncing back and forth in between. So I feel like for 25 Supercross, he's going to take a big step up from what we've come accustomed to seeing his Supercross results have been over the past few years. Almost non-existent, because he just hasn't raced due to injury or team switching or some sort of other reason. But yeah, for Masterpool, I feel like it could really go either way. He could be a guy who finishes 8th, 9th, 10th, or a guy who finishes in the top 3.
Awesome analysis, man. And that's all spot on. And I think we're going to see exactly that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Tom Vial.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep, a guy who came off a Supercross championship, didn't have the summer he wanted to, but another guy who can kind of be rejuvenated with the SMX thing and say, hey, the summer didn't go the way I wanted to, but I kind of cap off the year with a nice little cherry on top, the SMX title, and really stake it to Hayden Deegan by taking away that title as well.
Yeah, Tom Vial had the Supercross season I did not expect, in the sense of winning the championship. I didn't foresee him being that competitive in it, and then he did not have the outdoor season overall that we kind of expected for him to have. Great finishes, great flashes of brilliance, but not overall consistently that we thought we would see out of somebody like Tom. This could be definitely a great stepping stone to the 24-25 Supercross season, and also a great way for him to finish these last 3 rounds. As we know, he can win a Supercross championship. Obviously, he can win outdoor championships and outdoor races, so this could be exactly what he's looking for, a time to really cement his feet as, hey, I'm one of the guys. The outdoor season wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but I'm still here and capable of winning.
Yeah, and I think so. The momentum is definitely trending in his direction, and the entire Red Bull KTM Factory Racing team. He finally got that overall win that he was searching for all season long at the 11th hour, no pun intended, at Ironman. And granted, he did go 1-4. I feel like there's a little bit of a difference between 1-4 and like a 1-1. He didn't really like stamp it, but then again, the math played out in his favor. And I feel like he can ride that momentum going into SMX.
Yeah, I mean, now that you put it this way, what a cool transition for the guys to go from outdoors to Supercross and give them a chance to start getting some Supercross riding under their feet, but not 100% Supercross. So cool way for them to finish the season and transition into what's coming up in this winter.
Cool. Well, this could be a hard question to ask, but who do you think is going to win the first round of the Super Motocross playoff?
RJ Hampshire.
Oh, I love it. Just confidence.
Yeah, the dude deserves it. He wants to show that he's the guy. So I would be scared if I'm not RJ. He's going to just push you out of the way.
Nice. I'm going to go Hayden Deegan. I feel like Deegan's just going to be like, I'm the man, and just I'm rocking the number 1 plate. This is my championship to defend. No one's really going to take it from me. We know he's fast, he's fit, he's healthy. The bike seems to be dialed in, and he's just got a great collective of resources and people around him to really steer him in the right direction if things go awry. And I feel like if he gets a second or a third in the first moto, he's a guy who can really just put that in the back of his mind and come back in Moto 2 and just win. And I feel like Hayden Deegan or even RJ Hampshire are great picks for this weekend. But drop your pick in the comment section below. Let's do something a little fun. Drop your 250 podium, and if you get it all right, maybe we'll send you a Rad JBI hat.
For sure.
We've got a couple in stock, couple waiting to be placed on some heads out there. And so drop your podiums below, 250 class, first, second, third. The first person to get it correct, I should say, will get a Rad JBI hat. So something a little fun. But thank you guys for watching this week's episode of JBI Race Recap. We also have a 450 preview show for the Super Motocross Playoff Series, round number 1 at ZMAX Dragway. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one.